Welcome back, everybody, to the Canada Specialist Program webinar series. Our first update today is with Sonya from Destination Ontario. Sonya, welcome back to the program. I know today, we've had you on before, so we're talking about some different themes today. Today, you're going to be looking at Ontario's 3 iconic cities. So just kicking off with the basics, what are Ontario's 3 iconic cities, and also the opportunities to connect with nature as well?
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. It's great to be back. And of course, we have Toronto, Canada's largest city and our provincial capital. We have the awe-inspiring Niagara Falls, which is a small city, and our nation's capital. And we're really fortunate that you can easily combine nature within 2 to 3 hours of the cities, or even closer. And that makes us perfect for fly drives. So I'm going to give you a little sample fly drive today.
Cool. Sounds good.
Before we get into some fresh ideas for Toronto and Niagara, I just have a quick video. Love the emojis. So I'm just going to stay on this slide just for a second because I know that you're all familiar with the location of Ontario. And bear with me because
it's all good. It's moving. It's moving. And yes, love the video. The video sets the scene nicely. Picture of the seasons here. So do you have any tips on when are the best times to visit?
Well, of course, a lot of our Australian visitors tend to come in the summer, but a great tip, if you don't know, is that September and October are beautiful times to visit. Our kids go back to school at the beginning of September, so the destinations are not as busy with domestic visitors, but the weather's still beautiful, often in the 20 degrees Celsius range. And of course, it's our famous fall color season.
Beautiful.
So yeah.
Yeah, nice one. Starting with Toronto, say it the right way. That's where you are today. So I know you kind of want to talk about the culinary scene in Toronto. I mean, there's a lot to talk about in a city, of course, but yes, tell us a bit about the food.
Yeah. So Toronto's food scene captures a lot of attention because we are a very multicultural city. We have over 200 cultures in Toronto, so you can literally eat your way around the world. There are lots of food tours that give you the inside scoop into the best food in the various multicultural neighborhoods. They're a great way to see historic markets like the St. Lawrence Market or quirky Kensington Market, which is known for its vintage shops as well. And last year, we were super excited when Toronto became the first Canadian city featured in the Michelin Guide. So 13 restaurants received Michelin stars. One of them got 2 stars, and there were also 17 Bib Gourmands that were featured. Yeah, so super exciting in that way. And on a totally different note, though, another tip I wanted to give everyone is that there are so many opportunities to enjoy nature in the city. And one of the most popular is taking a short ferry ride over to the Toronto Islands. They're pedestrian free and offer great views of the city. It's easy to walk or rent bicycles. And just this slide, I'll send this to all of you after. It's just a reminder of some of the famous family-friendly attractions that we have in Toronto. And I think everyone's probably seen this image before, but one of our must-dos, of course, is to visit the CN Tower, whether it's just to go up for viewing or whether to enjoy the Edge Walk.
Have you done the Edge Walk, Sonya?
I have actually. And you know
Nice.
what? I need to do it again with my kids now that they're old enough.
Yeah, cool. Nice one. It looks cool. So yeah, moving on to Niagara Falls, which is of course another big icon of Ontario. Now we've talked about Niagara Falls today. We've done a bit of training, and of course it's a really famous, it's a busy destination. So yeah, what are some of the kind of regenerative or sustainable tourism initiatives that Niagara Falls is doing?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk to you about one big one, but just quickly before that, I wanted to again mention like opportunities for enjoying nature in Niagara Falls, including hiking at Niagara Glen, which protects over 490 species of vulnerable plants and animals. And a couple things people might not know is that every night the falls are illuminated. And every night from May 19th to October 9th, there are free fireworks over the falls at 10 o'clock, which is quite a sight to see. But what I wanted to share a little bit about in terms of sustainable tourism is that the Niagara Parks Commission has an environmental stewardship mandate. And so they work to preserve, conserve, and promote the natural and the cultural heritage of the Niagara region. And an amazing example of this is a pretty new attraction, the adaptive reuse of the historic Niagara Parks Power Station. This is a decommissioned power generation station that's been conserved and restored into a tourism experience. I finally got to see it earlier this year, and it is unbelievable. There are multiple components. There's a tour that educates visitors on the power generation aspects. The water filtration tunnels have been transformed into walking tunnels that you go through to get to an amazing observation deck where you can view the falls. And then in the evening, there is this immersive sound and light show, which transports you through the history of Niagara in a really fresh and fun way. So super cool.
Yeah, something different. And of course, Niagara on the Lake, which maybe not everybody has heard of, because, you know, when we think of Niagara, we think of the falls first. But of course, Niagara on the Lake, for I'm sure some people will know, it's a thriving wine region. Can you just tell us a little bit about Niagara on the Lake, please?
Yeah, so Niagara on the Lake is about 30 minutes from Niagara Falls. It's a completely different atmosphere, a charming small town with boutiques and galleries, cute country inns, beautiful to walk around, amazing restaurants using that rich farm to table traditions, using the bounty of the region. But the key thing is that within 45 minutes from Niagara on the Lake, there are over 100 wineries, everything from charming boutique wineries to beautiful estate wineries, famous for the cool climate varietals. And of course, our signature is the ice wine, where frozen grapes are harvested under very specific conditions. So some people might wish to stay in Niagara on the Lake because they want that charming atmosphere. Some may just wish to visit, but regardless, it's a must do. And one of the reasons why your clients need a couple days in Niagara.
Yeah, and that's a good point as well, because then, like you say, you can base them where it suits them most, whether that's at the falls or at Niagara on the Lake, and then they can mix and match. Yeah, nice one. Thank you. Loving the ice wine as well, of course. Always a good excuse to drink some ice wine.
So good.
So you mentioned that it's easy to connect Ontario's three iconic cities with nature. Are you going to tell us a bit about your fly drive itineraries?
Yeah, so again, I'm going to send this out later, so you'll have more time to take a look at it. But basically, it's very easy to go up to Muskoka and Algonquin Park and enjoy nature and then head on over to Ottawa. So I'm just going to take a few minutes, tell you a little bit about Muskoka. It's probably the most prestigious of cottage countries or summer home regions in Canada. And so your clients can have this quintessential Ontario summer experience when they visit Muskoka. There are over 80 resorts and lodges, from 5-star hotels like you see here, the JW Marriott, to family-run lodges and rustic cottage resorts. What they all have in common is a mix of activities on site or nearby: golf, spas, dining, children's programs. But the real beauty of this area is just finding the gems that appeal to you. It's an area of small towns, of things that you can discover. There's wineries, there are boat cruises. And no matter which resort you choose, you have access to so many outdoor activities: canoeing, stand-up paddleboarding, zip lining, horseback riding, cycling. Yeah, quintessential summer Ontario. And Muskoka is the gateway to our most famous park, our oldest park, Algonquin. And it's famous for its vibrant fall colors, but it's magical through all 4 seasons. And there are hiking and paddling routes, no matter how much time you have or what your physical abilities are. There are not cottages in the park. So there are a few lodges. There are no motorboats, no cruises. It's just a place to reconnect and hopefully see some wildlife.
Beautiful.
And it's about like 2 to 3, about 3 hours from from Toronto and from Ottawa. Now, my buzzer is telling me that it's going to be time for Nicole. But I wanted to quickly share something that will segue into Nicole, is that as you continue on to Ottawa, you might not know that you can enjoy whitewater rafting on one of our heritage rivers. And owl rafting on the Ottawa River has rafting trips in the class 3 and class 4 rapids. They have accommodation, or it can be done as a day trip. And it's great for families and thrill seekers, and just 90 minutes from Ottawa. And Nicole will correct me if I'm wrong on my timing. And
Perfect.
yeah, and when I send the follow-up, I'm going to show you all kind of the rest of the circle route that would take you back to Toronto. Yeah. And if there's any questions at the end.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah,